Captain Jake Callahan stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, staring out into the infinite black of space. The sleek, silver ship hummed softly as it cruised toward the Vorax homeworld, a planet cloaked in mystery and advanced technology. Earth had been watching the Vorax for years, hoping to establish a peaceful trade agreement, but their technology was unlike anything humanity had ever seen, advanced but secretive. Earth's first deep space exploration fleet had been sent out as a gesture of goodwill, its mission to make contact and learn. So far, things had gone according to plan. The communications officer, Lieutenant Maria Alvarez, turned to Callahan. "Captain, we've received their response. They're acknowledging our presence in their space. It looks like the initial contact is going smoothly." Jake nodded, but there was a flicker of unease in his gut. "Let's stay sharp. No surprises." A few moments passed, and the first transmission from the Vorax came in. The voice on the other end was cold, mechanical. "Human vessel. Your arrival is noted. Proceed to docking coordinates." "Understood," Callahan replied. "Lieutenant, relay the coordinates. Let's make sure we've got every angle covered." But the unease gnawed at him, an instinct deep within. Something wasn't right. As the Vanguard neared the Vorax station, a sudden alarm blared through the ship. A burst of static filled the comms, followed by a harsh, guttural alien language that none of the crew could understand. Before they could react, the Vanguard rocked violently. The station's communications link cut off abruptly as several bolts of energy erupted from the Vorax ship, striking the Vanguard's shields and punching through them like they were paper. "Shields at 30%, cried Ensign Reynolds from Tactical. "Get us out of here," Callahan barked, but it was too late. A second barrage hit, and the bridge lights flickered as the ship trembled under the assault. In that moment, everything shifted. The Vorax weren't interested in peace. They were making a statement. Callahan's orders rang clear and cold. Target their engines. Return fire. The Vanguard was about to teach the galaxy a new definition of brutality. The Vanguard was in ruins. Captain Jake Callahan stood among the wreckage on the bridge, his voice cold as he barked orders over the comms. The ship was bleeding, but it wasn't dead yet. The Vorax ship loomed in the distance, its hull glowing with ominous energy, preparing for another strike. The battle was far from over, but Callahan's mind was already racing ahead, calculating the odds, weighing every move. His crew was tough, but they'd need something more to survive this. "Lieutenant Alvarez, get us out of here." Full reverse. Callahan's voice was strained but calm. "Navigator, plot a course to the nearest colony. We're going to need reinforcements." But it wasn't reinforcements that he needed. Not yet. In the chaos of the attack, one thought burned bright in Callahan's mind. This wasn't a battle of weapons or ships. It was a battle of willpower. The Vorax, with their advanced technology and superior fleet, had assumed victory was inevitable. They'd underestimated humanity's most potent weapon, humanity itself. "General Walker," Callahan muttered to himself, his eyes scanning the tactical readouts. Back on Earth, General Eva Walker, head of the United Earth Alliance's Special Operations Division, was already coordinating a new strategy. Humanity's military might was still growing, but the technological gap between Earth and the galactic powers was wide. There was no way to catch up quickly. So, instead of technology, Walker had begun to focus on a different approach: human enhancement. For the past 5 years, she'd led a covert program to develop a series of combat augmentations designed to harness the raw potential of human biology. Using a combination of genetic engineering, chemical stimulants, and neural reprogramming, The program aimed to unlock humanity's primal, instinctive strength, what Walker referred to as the feral advantage. A special force unit, codenamed Huntsman, had been selected for this experiment. These soldiers would be the first to wield the full power of Walker's vision. They would not only fight, they would tear through their enemies like predators, fueled by the very instincts that had once kept humans alive on a savage primordial Earth. Back on the Vanguard, Callahan's eyes glinted with something darker, something more dangerous. If the Vorax wanted war, they were about to find out what true war looked like. The Huntsmen were ready, and Earth was about to change the galaxy forever. In the aftermath of the Vanguard's narrow escape from the Vorax ambush, the situation on Earth was rapidly escalating. The United Earth Alliance had received the full transmission of the attack, and the Council convened immediately. Callahan's message had been clear. Humanity had just taken its first steps into the galactic stage, and it wouldn't be bullied. But the message had also sent shockwaves through the universe. The Vorax, a race known for their aggressive nature and nearly invincible technology, had been defeated by a single human vessel, barely armed, barely prepared. And in the process, Earth's reputation had been forged. General Eva Walker, now a key player in the galaxy's unfolding drama, sat in a secure command room back on Earth, reviewing the data from the Vanguard's encounter. Her mind raced with calculations, both military and psychological. The galaxy needed to understand something fundamental about humanity. Humans didn't fight like aliens. Humans fought like humans, recklessly, desperately, and without mercy. Walker's plans had been set into motion. The Huntsmen were a success. Soldiers trained to push their bodies beyond the limits of biology. But it wasn't just about strength or speed. The real power lay in their minds. Walker had honed their instincts, their ability to think and fight with primal efficiency, tapping into the very survival instincts that had kept humanity alive for centuries of hardship. Now, she had a force that could bend the galaxy to Earth's will. At the same time, across the stars, the alien coalition was organizing. The Vorax were humiliated, but they weren't backing down. Other species had begun to rally around them, forming a united front against Earth. Tensions flared as several previously neutral factions, now terrified by Earth's brutality, joined forces to neutralize the human threat before it spread. But they were too late. The Huntsmen were already being deployed. Captain Callahan, having recovered from the Vanguard's near destruction, was among the first to see the impact of Walker's new warriors. A surprise mission on the planet Ardennis, a small but strategic world, would show the galaxy just how much humanity had changed. As Callahan and his squad infiltrated the planet, the Huntsmen moved with terrifying precision. It wasn't just a battle, it was a massacre. The aliens on Ardennis didn't stand a chance against soldiers who had been honed into something far beyond ordinary men and women. They moved like shadows, silent and brutal, leaving nothing behind but destruction. The soldiers' faces remained impassive as they executed their orders. No mercy, no hesitation. The Huntsmen had earned their new name, the Killing Gloves of Earth. When they struck, they did not just fight. They became the embodiment of humanity's savage will to survive. And with each victory, the galaxy would soon understand that it was no longer the humans who should fear the stars, but the stars that should fear the humans. The galaxy was in turmoil. The news of humanity's sudden and brutal rise spread like wildfire, and with it came a flood of fear and confusion. The alien coalition, still reeling from the defeat of the Vorax, struggled to form a cohesive response to Earth's growing threat. But they underestimated one crucial element: human nature. While the alien leaders strategized and plotted, Earth's commanders were thinking several moves ahead, anticipating their every counteraction. Back on Earth, General Ava Walker was preparing for the next phase of humanity's cosmic expansion. The Huntsmen had proven their lethality, but they were only the tip of the spear. Earth's real power lay not in their military might, but in their uncanny ability to manipulate and destabilize their enemies. It was time to play the long game, humanity's favorite game. A game they had mastered for centuries, on Earth and beyond. In a secure underground facility, Walker met with Captain Callahan and his most trusted lieutenants. The strategy was set into motion. The first target was not a military installation or a strategic position, but a delicate web of political alliances between the Telarch and the Caloth, two of the galaxy's most powerful factions. "We don't need to fight them," Walker said, her voice calm and calculating. "We need to make them fight each other." The plan was deceptively simple. Walker's team had already infiltrated key political and military leaders within both factions. Through carefully planted disinformation, sabotage, and whispers of betrayal, Earth would turn the two factions against one another. By the time either side realized they had been duped, it would be too late. They would be at war with each other, weakening their combined strength and giving Earth the advantage. On the remote world of Aurelis, Callahan and his squad began their covert operation. Under the cover of darkness, they executed their orders with precision. By the time the Caloth and Telarch discovered the truth, their alliance was shattered beyond repair. The two races had turned on each other with a violence that shook the galaxy to its core. Back in the heart of the galaxy, the unified front against Earth had fractured, and now humanity had proven that it wasn't just a brutal force, it was a master of chaos itself. The true battle was not one of weapons, but of minds. Humanity had become the cat's paw, the unseen hand that manipulated the galaxy's fate from the shadows, its enemies none the wiser. The stars were no longer a playground for the powerful. Earth had made its mark. The chaos in the galaxy reached a fever pitch. The Telarch and Caloth, once the most feared and united military powers in the universe, were now engaged in an all-out war with each other. The entire galaxy watched as their fleets tore into one another, a spectacle of violence and destruction that only further deepened the fear that Earth had begun to sow. But for General Ava Walker, the moment was bittersweet. She knew that their success in manipulating the galaxy's greatest powers was only the beginning. The real challenge lay in the aftermath. Humanity's ruthless tactics were working, but they were also raising alarms. The more the galaxy's leaders tried to unite against Earth, the more fragmented their forces became. Alien factions who had once considered themselves untouchable now faced civil wars, betrayals, and uprisings in their own ranks. The galaxy was fracturing under the weight of human influence, and the very foundation of galactic politics seemed to be unraveling. Back on Earth, the cracks in the galaxy's defenses were beginning to show. But it wasn't just political manipulation or military power that had made humanity a threat. As the war escalated, a revelation began to spread across the stars. Earth's true weapon wasn't just their soldiers, it was their relentless adaptability. Captain Callahan, leading a team of Earth's most seasoned operatives, had returned from a secret mission on the Caloth homeworld with a shocking discovery. In an underground facility, hidden beneath miles of fortified rock, they found the remnants of a Caloth weapon, a massive doomsday device capable of wiping out entire fleets in an instant. But it wasn't the weapon itself that caught Callahan's attention. It was the device's design. It was human in origin. The truth dawned on Callahan like a strike to the chest. Humanity hadn't just been playing the game. They had shaped it. For years, Earth had quietly planted agents, spies, and operatives in the highest echelons of alien factions. Slowly, steadily, They had infiltrated the galaxy's greatest powers, shaping wars, politics, and technology. The Kaloth weapon had been a human creation, stolen, then repurposed for their own needs. They had built the galaxy's future, piece by piece, without anyone noticing. The galaxy wasn't just in chaos. It was humanity's chaos, and it was only just beginning. The T-Arc fleet had entered the Sol system with ruthless determination. Their flagship, Vorgath, a monstrous vessel that could decimate entire fleets with a single volley, arrived with a force that seemed unstoppable. The T-Lark, having regrouped after their conflict with the Kaloth, had decided it was time to eliminate Earth once and for all. Their leaders believed they could crush humanity under the weight of their superior firepower and ancient technology. The galaxy, they thought, would return to its natural order, one without the unpredictable, chaotic influence of humans. They were wrong. General Ava Walker watched the T-Lark ships appear on Earth's radar, and her face betrayed no fear. This was what she had been preparing for. The huntsmen were already mobilizing, their enhanced abilities and brutal training set to be tested on the largest stage yet. But it wasn't just the soldiers that would be needed to defend Earth. This was a war on many fronts, and Earth would once again leverage its most terrifying weapon, strategy. Aboard the Vanguard, now repaired and retrofitted with a host of new systems developed by Earth's best engineers, Captain Jake Callahan stood at the helm. "We're about to meet them head-on," he said, his voice as cold and steady as steel. The crew had survived the earlier attack, but now they faced a far greater test. The T-Arc fleet had no intention of negotiating. They had come for one thing, Earth's complete annihilation. But Callahan knew something they didn't. This was the moment that would define humanity as the galaxy's most unpredictable force. The humans would not bow. As the T-Lark warships positioned themselves in a battle formation, Walker activated the final phase of the plan, the Black Tide. Hidden within Earth's military network, a series of sleeper agents had been activated across T-Lark territory. Earth had planted spies and saboteurs within the T-Lark fleet, and now they would tear the enemy apart from the inside. The first wave of T-Lark ships fired, massive plasma cannons streaking toward Earth. But before they could land their fatal blows, something unexpected happened. The Vanguard deployed its secret weapon, an electromagnetic pulse that disabled several of the T-Lark's flagship systems. At the same time, their own ships began to turn on each other, their communications scrambling and their weapons malfunctioning. The T-Lark's war machine was beginning to fall apart. "What the hell?" The T-Lark admiral growled, watching as his fleet descended into confusion. The killing tide had begun, and Earth's unpredictable, cunning tactics were about to rip through their forces. Callahan grinned grimly, watching as the T-Lark ships faltered, an unexpected chaos spreading among their ranks. "This is just the beginning," he muttered, locking onto the enemy with renewed purpose. Humanity had become the storm the galaxy feared. And now, they would show it. The T-Arc fleet, once a juggernaut of unmatched firepower and discipline, was crumbling before Earth's assault. Their prized flagship, the Vorgath, had suffered critical damage after a cascade of sabotage and internal sabotage within their ranks. Confusion ran rampant, and their military command was scrambling to recover control. But the damage was done. The human tactics, relentless and unexpected, had exposed the T-Lark's weakness, their reliance on order and predictability. And just as the T-Lark began to realize that their technological superiority was no guarantee of victory, a new nightmare emerged, one that wasn't born of advanced weaponry or cunning strategies. On the fringes of the battle, An enormous fleet of Kaloth warships dropped out of hyperspace. They had come to avenge their losses from the earlier conflict with the Telarch, but they were now faced with a far more dangerous enemy, humanity. The Kaloth, genetically engineered to be the galaxy's ultimate warriors, had always seen themselves as the dominant species. But Earth's unyielding adaptability, its ability to outthink and outmaneuver them, had unsettled even the most battle-hardened Kaloth generals. The Kaloth, however, were not as easily manipulated as the Telarch. They had been watching Earth's movements, and they understood the threat humanity posed. Unlike the Telarch, they didn't rely on predictable formations or rigid hierarchies. Their strategy was more fluid, more primal. Yet the Kaloth had never faced an enemy that was as human as they were. Captain Callahan's fleet was now facing a war on two fronts. The Telarch, although disorganized, were still formidable. But the Kaloth were an entirely different kind of threat. Their warriors were unmatched in hand-to-hand combat, and their ships were built to endure. For the first time since humanity had made its mark on the galaxy, Earth was facing an enemy that could match its ferocity. But Earth was ready. General Walker's plan was already in motion. The Vanguard, along with a fleet of smaller human ships, was not about to play by the galaxy's rules. Instead, Earth would once again prove that survival wasn't just about being the strongest. It was about being the last one standing. "We're going to end this, once and for all," Walker said, her voice unwavering as the Kaloth fleet advanced. "Prepare to show the galaxy the true meaning of war." It was time for the final reckoning. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, but they would learn soon enough. Earth wasn't just playing the game. They were changing it and rewriting the rules. The stars above Earth burned brighter as the battle reached its apex. Captain Jake Callahan stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, watching the viewscreen as the Kaloth and Telarch fleets clashed in a maelstrom of destruction. The space around Earth had turned into a deadly ballet of laser fire, energy shields, and warships colliding. But Callahan didn't flinch. Humanity was no longer just a player in this cosmic game. They were its rulers. The Kaloth had brought their full might, their massive warships bearing down with overwhelming force. Yet, as their battleships opened fire on Earth's defensive line, the Vanguard's electromagnetic pulse systems triggered once again. A blinding pulse sent shockwaves through the Kaloth fleet, causing their ship's systems to short-circuit. The galaxy's deadliest warriors found themselves as vulnerable as any of their prey. "Deploy the Huntsman," General Ava Walker ordered, her voice crisp and unyielding over the comms. The ground forces, the Huntsman, were the final step of the plan. If the fleets above Earth were the galaxy's battlefield, the surface below would be the stage where the true message would be sent. Callahan's face hardened as the Huntsman, human warriors enhanced to the peak of physical and mental capability, descended in pods, their stealth suits cloaking them as they hit the ground of the Kaloth staging zones. On the surface, they would stripe like shadows, taking the Kaloth war machine apart piece by piece. They were the galaxy's true reckoning, unstoppable predators, moving with lethal grace to take down Kaloth leadership, sabotaging weapons, and spreading terror. Back in orbit, the Vanguard and the remaining Earth ships continued to wreak havoc, drawing the Telarch's attention. They fought valiantly, but the true power lay in their disarray. The Telarch had been outmaneuvered and outsmarted. They weren't fighting a war anymore. They were fighting for survival. The sudden turn of events, the complete loss of strategic control, was enough to break their resolve. Their fleet scattered, unwilling to face the full force of humanity's wrath. Within hours, the Kaloth forces had been gutted by the Huntsman's ground assaults, and the Telarch had been broken beyond repair. The galaxy's most formidable alliances had been shattered by the most unexpected force in the universe, Earth. Standing before the remains of the enemy fleet, Callahan looked at the stars and said, "We weren't just fighting to survive, we fought to be free." And in that moment, the galaxy understood. The last strike wasn't about firepower or technology, it was about the sheer will to live. Humanity had rewritten the laws of war, and the galaxy would never be the same again.